Hello, K2. It's Miss Amy. I thought as we begin our new studying unit about the Earth, we can think about the ways that the Earth is important to us. And one of the most important things we get from the Earth is the food that we eat. Fruits and vegetables are parts of plants that grow in the Earth. So I thought this week we could think about the food that we're eating and try to decide what part of a plant it might come from. So behind me I have a word bank of all different kinds of parts of plants. Let's go through it. The first word I wrote is seed, and the seed is the part that grows into the plant. It is the beginning of a new plant. Seed. The next word I wrote is root, and the root is the part of the plant that grows deep into the soil to soak up water and nutrients to help the plant grow. That's what a root is. Another part of a plant is the stem, and the stem is the part that grows above the soil and holds the plant upright. Stem. The next part is leaf. Now leaves are often green, sometimes they're different colors, but most often they're green, and they're the part that the plant uses to soak up the sunlight so that the plant can make food for itself. I think we've all seen a lot of different kinds of leaves. Another part of a plant is the fruit. And the fruit is the part of the plant that holds the seeds that will make a new plant. And I think we're very familiar with lots of different kinds of fruit. The last part I have on my list is a flower. And when flowers bloom, pollinators come to make seeds. And sometimes, not very often, but every now and then, there's a food that we eat that is actually a flower. So we can learn more about all these parts of the plant when we listen to the story From Seed to Plant by Gail Gibbons. And I've got a link for that for your grown-ups. But let's talk about some foods now. The first foods I thought about were these. Now these look like seeds to me. And this is something that I put in the microwave or in a hot pot with some oil and shake it up and it pops. This is popcorn. And popcorn is a seed. It's the seed of a corn plant. Another food that is a seed is this, and I eat this all the time. This is uncooked. I haven't cooked it yet, but this is rice. And I wonder if some of my friends like to eat rice for their breakfasts and lunches and dinners. Rice is a great healthy food, and it's a seed of the rice plant. So these are two different kinds of foods that are actually seeds. Now, some of you will know this food. It's pretty common. This is how it looks when we get it at the store or the farmer's market. But when it grows in the garden or at the farm, there's a big green leafy part that grows out of the top because this part of the plant grows under the soil. This is a carrot, and the part that grows under the soil is called the root. So when you eat a carrot, you're eating the root of the carrot plant. And other foods that are roots are beets and radishes and turnips. Turnips are roots. There's lots of foods that are root foods, like a carrot. Now this is a food that I like to eat a lot. It's crunchy and delicious. Sometimes I slice it up. Sometimes I put a little peanut butter on it. This food is called celery. And celery grows in the ground. The roots come out the bottom and leaves come out the top. This is what it looks like at the grocery store. But this, the part that we eat, is the stem of the celery plant. And other stems that we might eat are rhubarb, maybe asparagus. You can think about what part of the plant that grows straight up out of the soil that you would eat could be a stem of that plant. Oh, let's think about another part. Leaves. We talked about how leaves are often green, and they are the part that the plant uses to soak up sunshine to make food for itself. And I looked in my refrigerator and I saw this food. It's lettuce. And you can see that lettuce is a great big leaf. It's pretty easy to recognize that. So when we eat lettuce, we are eating leaves. Some other foods that might be leaves are spinach or kale or collards. Those are all delicious and very healthy choices, and they're leaves of the food, of the plant that's growing in the garden. And let's think about this. Fruit. We're all pretty familiar with fruits. When we were in school, we often had fruit for our snack or our breakfast. This is an apple. And when we ate apples in school, some of us looked for the seeds that were inside because fruits almost always have seeds in them. That's the part of the plant that makes seeds for new plants. So an apple is a fruit, but here's another fruit. It's a tomato. And when you cut a tomato open and when you're eating it, you'll notice it has little tiny seeds inside. So fruits can be sweet things like apples and pears and cherries. And fruits can also be the part of the plant that we don't often think of as a sweet fruit, but cucumbers, pumpkins, tomatoes, these are all fruits of the plants. They have the seeds inside. So when you're eating your food, you can think, is this a fruit? Tomatoes are a fruit. The last word I have on my list is flower. Now flowers, we don't eat a lot of flowers. I couldn't think of a lot. Maybe you could think of some more ideas, but I thought of this food. Now this is also one of my favorite vegetables. You can see that this was part of a plant, has some stems. It even has a little leaf attached. But up here, this delicious part that we like to eat is actually the flower of the broccoli. If this were growing in your garden or on the farm and you let it grow, you didn't pick it when it looked like this, but you let it grow a little bit more, all of these little tiny buds would open up and make beautiful flowers. So when you're eating broccoli, you're eating the part of a little baby flower. Maybe you can think of other foods that are flowers, like artichokes are flowers, all closed up. They haven't bloomed yet, but they're part of a flower. So those are things that you can think about, the different parts of the plants and how your food might be a different part of that plant. I'm going to challenge you, K2. I'm going to ask you to think about the food that you're eating. Think of one food. I thought of a celery stick. I drew my celery stick on a piece of paper. I wrote the word celery on the top. Maybe you can ask your grown-ups, or maybe you can think of the way that the letters make the sounds so that you can write the word of the food that you're thinking about. And then I think that the celery that I eat is actually the stem of the celery plant. So I wrote the word stem on my paper. So I challenge you to make your own drawing of your own food that you'd like to eat. Draw a picture of the food and then write whether you think it's a seed, a root, a stem, a leaf, a fruit, or a flower of a plant that's edible. Then you can bring your drawings to our meeting on Thursday and we can talk about parts of the plants and the food that we eat from our wonderful earth. So I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Don't forget to watch the storybook From Seed to Plant. That'll be a good introduction as well. And I'll see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.